So what'd you think of that little Sunday morning harvest? I'm getting that about every day. Hey y'all, it's late Sunday afternoon and I'm just now picking up the camera because we are nearing the end of one row of the shade cloth frame. So I told y'all we were gonna bring you along, and I'm gonna turn it over to Buddy once we do a walk around in the garden. I will say that I did fertilize the peppers, tomatoes, everything. Actually, I fertilized the whole garden, and I fertilized it with the 0-10-10, especially the tomatoes. I'm just concentrating right now on the phosphorus and the potassium. I'm not feeding nitrogen. So, yeah, and then where the potato bed, where the potatoes was, should I say, we've got enough dirt, we can top those off, and I will be planting red rippers. I don't think I'll get it done today. Hopefully tomorrow I can get those in. And yeah, we'll be growing red rippers. And it's about 70 day. And the way I figure, I'm gonna play it close, but I'll be able to get a few fall things in. And I'll also show y'all what he decided to do with those cucumbers that I thought was cantaloupe. Yeah, we changed, or should I say, he changed it up and it made more sense to me. So let's do a walk around, and when we get to each new section, we'll go into more detail. I may have to get that tripod out. It's hard holding these cameras up. Okay, we're at the entrance. Guys, let me show y'all something. There must be 10 all over these zinnias. Look at that one. The dahlias. They're loving life. Now look down in here. We get Mo back this evening, so he's got some picking to do. There's little spots of red. Look down in there. So he's gonna have himself a good little snack. The beans, oh my gosh. Let's see, with what I've got, which I'm not gonna can that small amount just yet, I'm at 20 pints. I look to have enough tomorrow to pick to make 4 more pints. That'll give me 24 pints of green beans. Cherokee yellow wax beans, we still call them snap beans. All of them to us is snap beans. But they're still Cadillacing for us. Look up in here. Let me grab my cup of coffee. Nothing's really changed since the other day, except blooms and blooms and more blooms are happening. And this is the hot cayennes. And here's the poblanos. Y'all, my aloe veras, they're doing good. I hope I can get them to grow like the ones we lost. Those things were huge. Mint, growing like crazy. Look at the apple mint. Calling my name soon. And here you go. But guess what? This cucumber and that cucumber, they're both gherkins. Now, I didn't plant it like that. Remember, I planned to have cantaloupe. But these happen to be both gherkins, and that thrills me. So this fencing that you see, it's being held up by these 2 chairs. That's actually going to be raised, and we're going to go ahead and run the cucumbers up the trellis. And what he's going to do with the watermelons, look at this. He's just going to run them out of the hole with the fence coming up, and we're going to lay the ground cover down like we've got right there, but run it further out all the way down and just let them cascade on the ground. That's all we can do this year to make it work. The parsley's already starting to want to come back. The lemon balm, I will be harvesting that sometime this week. I still got to get to the thyme and the oregano. sweet potatoes. But this is what I wanted to show y'all. This is that butterfly bush. Now, this leans more towards the tropics, this variety. And I'll show you how much rain we've had. You see the yellowing in the leaves? Well, these bushes do not like a lot of water. And it's got a lot of drainage at the bottom, but he's put more holes in it. But when you start seeing that on a butterfly bush, yeah, it's had too much water. And it's not from a water hose, it's from the rain. So I've been knocking them off. But that's a telltale sign right there. Bud, what'd you say we've had, 4 inches?
Yeah, in the last 7 days.
Yeah, 4 inches in the last 7 days. But future forecast says no rain in sight for a week. So, but it's overcast today. It was overcast yesterday, so it's made gardening a lot easier. We're just gonna kind of run down. Now, because I want to utilize what we have this year, I will be planting okra in all the empty buckets that we see throughout. Oh, let's stop and say hello to the hosinator. There we go. I'm in the competition, guys. And this is what I did. Remember that oddball cucumber? I'll go around and show you what it looks like from the front side. Okay, that one huge cucumber that you saw at the beginning of the video, it was hanging in between these 2 buckets. I never saw it until I was walking back from the bench, and there it was. So I took one of these square cages and made a V, and I'm just gonna let most of it run up, this one run down, and call it good. Because that other cucumber could have been pulled 2 days ago. Never saw it. All right, so where was we? Oh, he's this way. Every tomato has, or every tomato plant is loaded. Now, my basil's starting to take off. Like I said, we just needed some warm temps, and the overcast has helped. This is going to be 2 more buckets for okra. I'm only going to put 2 to a bucket, and that may be 2 too many, but I am going to go ahead and do 2 to a bucket. Harvesting squash, 2 to 3 every day. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I just stepped on the cat's tail.
I've been trying to get your attention.
Oh, gosh, dog.
Because you ain't talking to her.
Well, oh, I'm more naturally backed up on her tail. I'm sorry. Lord, that gave me a heart attack. Probably gave y'all a heart attack, too. What was I saying? Oh, the squash. It's thriving. And here's the 2 no names. I'm real curious to see what these turn out to be. You know we're going backwards, guys. Buddy's cucamelons, if that's how you pronounce it. They're starting to take up the trellis. And we do have 1 cucumber here. This is a burpless. And here again, see the yellowing? Remember I threw just some pollinating seeds here? Well, too much rain. But we go on down to the poor, pitiful banana peppers. That is definitely a flop this year, which is not normal. Normally we're just begging to give them away. Look, but they're producing. But I'm fixing to put something on them, and I'll share it with y'all. It may be tomorrow. I'm gonna put something on them. Basically, I'm putting both feet in them and just see what happens. These are the bell peppers. This was mine from the store, remember? I've already harvested 3 bales. There's another one here. I just saw, there's one up in here. I don't even know if the camera's picking up. But guys, there's about 5 bell peppers on this plant. And look at this. Can y'all see right in here? Look at that. This thing is Cadillacing. I have to admit, that one there is showing off. Okay, we're back towards the front. Remember, that's the only cherry tomato that we have, and it's a sun gold. And there was one of the tomato plants that was sitting in the starter mix. The two San Marzanos. Look up in here. Got me a little squash. Here's the other squash. And what I do is I come out every day and I just kind of lift these leaves up if you catch them in time. Like this one here. Let me see if I can. You got to be careful because they'll snap on you. And I just lean it up. Like that. Here's the other cucumbers. And look. Oop, I got me a little lizard. Look up in here. And these are the Space Master 80, both of these. Oh, let's pull this one back in. There we go. And y'all know these tendrils here, if you break one off, it doesn't affect the plant. Here's the other cucumbers. Now this one stays full of bees. I mean, full of bees. I'm not sure we looked at the zucchini, but I get about 2 a day in here. I mean, they're almost as tall as me. But look at this. It doesn't seem that the hail, remember the little pieces of hail that hit, has affected it because there's 1, 2, 3 bells here. There's 1, 2, 3 right there. So the bells are about to turn on. Then all the jalapenos. Now this little bush is loaded. I mean, it is loaded, guys. And what you're seeing here, that's Captain Jack. But one of you guys told me that Captain Jack came out with a liquid. Same stuff I use, only liquid. Well, guess what? Lippy's getting her some. So, can't remember who mentioned it, that they actually found the liquid Captain Jack. But thank you. Had no clue. I'm not one that really researches. I just, whatever works, I just use it for years and years and years. Look up in here. Look at that. It's just loaded. Okay, now we're coming around to the tomatoes. Remember, all of these are the celebrity determinants. They're all going to come in about the same time so I can go ahead and start processing. But every one of them is just loaded. And I know y'all are seeing pieces of wood because there's a reason for that. But I'm going to let Mr. Buddy explain it all. Guys, these things are just enormous. If I was to stand this up, which it's fixing to get stood up, I would say they're every bit of, what would you say, Bud? 5 feet, 6 feet tall?
Hey, what y'all doing?
You scared me. Hey, y'all, look. But look at the girth on this. These things are just massive. Oh, there's my coffee cup. We're going to go down to the end, and then I'm going to capture what it looks like, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Buddy so he can explain what we've been doing. And I still can't get over this sucker. I just can't. That poor, pitiful thing survived I keep saying it's a stick, a branch. Y'all, it was more like a log. And I told Buddy, I said, well, when I do get those tomatoes off, I'm going to watch him, but I may just pull him. But, I mean, from hail Look at that, just split everywhere to that log that hit it. Broke that branch off. That sucker is determined to produce. And look at these big boys. These are the San Marzanos. Remember, this whole corner right here is nothing but paste. This whole corner. Let me show y'all something. Now that's what I'm talking about. I mean, as far as your eyes can see. So, yeah, this is what I was praying for, was a lot of paste this year. The Lord heard my prayers, and He's answering them. Okay, I'm gonna try and capture just the look. And then we'll turn this over to Mr. Buddy. And of course, I'll have to do some zooming in as he explains. That is a string. And since I already had the stakes, we just tied it to the base of the stakes for this year because they're already here. But guys, we've been growing like this. Oh my gosh. I don't know, Bud. When we build that other garden? That's been 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
We've been growing like this. And this is, what do you call that? Rough cut? Free lumber. What'd you say? Free.
It's that free lumber.
All right. So I'm going to turn the camera around and let him explain.
Well, as she told y'all, it's free lumber. So ain't nothing square, plumb, or none of that. We ain't worried about that in the garden. We want it to work. So all we done was come in here and done uprights off the beds. And
I'm going slow, guys, so y'all can see what he's talking about.
the top of this is about 7'6". 7 foot 6 inches. All right. So that gives it enough height to where, I'll show you the string line and stuff here in a minute, but that gives it enough height where you can grow, because these are raised beds. So you got to remember, like these tomatoes, y'all see, they're already up there. They're going to be 5, 6 foot tall at least. Some of them, if they're indeterminate, they're going to go through the top. Have to either clip them or run them down and let them fall back through. But we went on and framed it out with this rough cut lumber, and then it's actually, we got 6 foot wide rolls of shade cloth. What'd you get, 40%?
60.
60%. So way I built it is,
No, wait, 40. I don't know,
40,
y'all.
ain't it?
I think Buddy's right.
You told me 40.
Yeah, 40%.
I don't know, you can tell them later.
Yeah, 40%.
But I built it to where I can lay that roll of shade cloth and roll it all the way down. And then the cloth that she got is where you staple it. Yeah, or either put it through like a wiggle wire, or you can weave it. So it'll lay up here and we'll stretch it tight, and I'll go on the top side and staple it where it's good and tight across it all the way down. And then that'll give her shade cloth on the top, get some heat off these things. And then also, come here.
Move up in here now.
I took and run a 12 gauge galvanized, found the center with a string line. We run it from one end to the other.
Fed it through those holes.
I got a fence tensioning ratchet on that end where I can keep the 12 gauge if I need to.
Let me zoom
Start
in.
sagging, I can put a click in it. And that way we can keep these strings up. Every one of these strings is tied off at the tight. They're all tight. And then for right now, you know, we started with stakes. So went all the way down to the base, and we've tied it to the stake itself to keep it tight. Now next year, probably won't have these in there.
We'll just have the string.
Like we had before, there'll be a string, and then I'll have a board across to attach it to.
Yeah.
And then she'll plant beside it, and then it can go up it.
So show them again, because I didn't have the camera. You're going to have a board where?
I'll have a board that goes from here across
Right.
the base,
Like we
and
did
then
the
you
other
plant beside it. That's the way we done the last ones. And it worked out good. I mean, this seems to be working out good now. Well, we got tied up. That's where I was when I looked through the tomatoes. I was down there finishing tying strings. But it's gonna, I'll come off of this, and it'll be the same 6 foot, but I'll come this one corner then I'll skip the gate, and then I'm gonna start all the way around. And we're going all the way around the garden, outside perimeter.
Okay, and that's a good
footprint.
point. You see, remember, y'all know what the garden looks like. We're going the full square. But then when he gets to this run that goes all the way down, he will be attaching
to the landscape timbers.
To the landscape timbers, because those won't be moving. And we'll do the same thing as this. And what I'm thinking is...
Probably gonna adhere one side, being this right here.
Let me show.
This top board here will probably be where part of the fabric hits here. On the other side of this, it'll have kind of like a lean-to down to this, and then I'll just tie the fabric off. That way it covers that row, this row. To me, the more shade, the better.
Now in the center, we're gonna run a small shade here, but I will not be shading where the zucchini and of course overhang of the cucumbers or this 2 rows right here going down. So those 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, will not have shade cloth, but these 4 will.
If it keeps going like it's going, we're gonna have to shade cloth the whole thing.
But in my mind, in theory, with the amount of shade that we're fixing to put from here to this long run that I'm standing center of, it should cascade the amount of shade, so it'll be indirect sun for that little bit of a square that we have going right here. But it will not do these 4. I've tried to watch the sun for 2 weeks. So we still got a ways to go to get it all wrapped, but the center, I'm not gonna put a shade on it unless something comes up that says, hey, you gotta do something. But this is a long row. So I'm very tickled that we have come this far this year, considering we've been at this place 18, not even 18 months yet. I gotta get my coffee. So as he's been stringing, I've been going around with the clips and clipping. Yeah, that's tough. I'm having to get on my little step stool to do it. Oh, let me show y'all something. Set my coffee down. When Mo comes, look at that big one. He is gonna be tickled. We playing peekaboo. We're watching what you're doing.
Oh Lord, down here tying these at the base on these stakes, so I can pull them to the top.
Y'all look at that. Oops.
Now I just take my string up at the top.
Here, let me. Lord, they're gonna fire me.
You see all the way at the top up there?
Oh, I'm supposed to go up here.
If you'll get in line with the bottom and just start popping it, put a little tension on it, it'll find its center. And it'll be straight up and down.
Yeah, a while ago he was asking me what was I doing to these plants. Tell him why you asked me that.
Well, you know, you'll always say she always says she gonna put her foot in it. Well, I can tell you, if you look at the size of the stalks on these tomato plants, and they ain't got going good yet, are already like corn stalks.
About 1.5 inches.
The fiberglass stakes are very stout. The green ones have
and this is what he's talking about.
A piece of metal in it.
Fiberglass.
And but right now they won't support it. Those are 6-foot stakes I've got crammed all the way to earth itself. And I have had to put double stakes in here, trying to put them in at an angle to pull with a clip on it. These here is going to be the only saving grace for them.
Yep.
So this wire can support all this. Because if not, they're going to break off, because they ain't even got going good yet. And
they're loaded, and they're not wimpy and loaded. These things are,
they're putting out.
Like if I lifted this up, this plant here, it's every bit of 5 feet already. And that's the big boys, but those are indeterminate. Y'all look at the little kiddie pool. We have a bloom, and it's just, y'all, this whole thing's fixing to blow up with blooms. But I think that is going to be so cool. And it's going to be appealing to the eye. When I'm sitting outside having my break. Yeah. And I'm probably just going to continuously use it as just a flower bed. Y'all got a needy cat? Because this one is. All right. Boy, my arms get tired. I'm going to have to prop y'all. This was the cucumber that was hanging between the two buckets. And I was like, oh no, we can't move it. It's too big, the bucket. And I really didn't know that's what I put in there. Anyhow, too big, but we gonna make it work. I'll open it up, take the seeds out, and we're gonna eat it. But this is what came off of those two that he's got to put up on that fencing. These are called gherkins. Very obvious. Well, I've only got 5 in here. I got 3 in the house. Oops. See, here's the other one. And I'm going to go ahead and do a refrigerator pickle. They're not going to last long enough, but now once they all start coming in, then I can start actually canning them, putting them in a water bath canner. But I'm just going to go ahead and grab some dill, and I'll get these washed, and I'll just make a refrigerator pickle. You ain't going to have, but let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pickles in a jar. But hey, it keeps them from running on you, you know? Tomato. Y'all, that lemon boy that I told y'all, if you've never planted a lemon boy, plant lemon boys. I'm actually going to reseed for a fall. I think I'll be able to pull it off. I want to get as many planted, if not this year, next year. I want to make the salsa out of the lemon boys. They're not they're not wet like you think. Very meaty, very sweet. They're, to me, my favorite, okay? But we ate our first one the other day. I think y'all saw it in a thumbnail picture. And then yesterday, we ate our first red tomato. Now, this one it was sitting next to this was a big beef, I think. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. It was a big beef. That's not the size of a big beef. But look, I'll take it. I've got 2 of them. So I'll take it. Now, my zucchini. I go right to the main stem of the zucchini, and I cut it off there. I don't twist mine. I don't cut them right here, you know, because they'll break on you. By doing this, I'm going to throw it in the bucket that's sitting in the ice box along with 6 more of these. This is the size that I like. They're very tender. I do not wash them. I'm just going to put them in there, and when I'm ready to, whether I'm going to cook with them, whether I'm going to, you know, flash freeze them, whatever I'm going to do with the zucchini as well as the squash, that's when I will wash them. I do not wash my vegetables and put them into what I call the housing bucket. Now, my yellow squash, I pick them this size. You want them tender. You don't want them too big. And this is a straight neck. But you want it tender. This is one of Buddy's favorites when I stuff it. Now, look at these green beans. Look at that. And that's just one that I pulled. Here is a Cherokee yellow wax. And let me show y'all. Oh, here is the Gold Rush. Now, these actually, they turn a yellow-green when you can them. They're really actually cool. And then you have your standard green color. But when you do the Cherokee yellow wax beans, they're yellow. They don't change colors. So by mixing those, I just think it's cool sitting in that jar. But let's talk real quick before I finish my coffee, because I got to go. As he strings, I have to go clip. So I got to get busy. But guys, I know I sound like a broken record, but you feed your plants the way you feed yourself. Well, no, you don't feed them every day, but what I mean is you got to give them nourishment. Plants thrive. These vegetables and these fruits, they thrive on being fed. But it's what you're feeding them. And what is it that they require? You've seen the garden now. You see where it has been established. I'm not going to worry about the nitrogen. Like I say, you could do a 244, you could do a 0.084. As long as your nitrogen stays well below your potassium and your phosphorus, okay? Or should I say phosphorus and potassium. Those are the two key ingredients to keeping balance to your garden. Now, some of you have went out and bought Garden Tone. Garden Tone will keep you balanced. As in, when I get those red rippers going in, and I'll do a video to show y'all what I fertilize. Since the potatoes was in there, and peas, some people call them cow peas, they don't require nitrogen. A pea, a field pea, cow pea, they're not nitrogen feeders. They're phosphorus and potassium feeders. So by putting them in behind the potato bed, there's enough nitrogen in that bed that it should balance itself off. I will be putting an inoculant, and I'll explain what that is once I move to these peas. But that's just going to be a one-time application. And then what I'm going to feed in the next day or two before I plant these is Garden Tone. So I'm going to amend these 6 beds with Garden Tone. I'll plant the red rippers with inoculant, and I'll go ahead and use the 0-10-10, and that's it. I might give them a little drink of 0-10-10 4 weeks from now, but I'm not going to heavy feed every week like I do my garden right now. So it's all in about basically learning your plant's needs. But once your garden, no matter where you're at, northeast, south, or west, when you start seeing fruit and you start seeing, well, I can't compare the beans to the fruit because the beans have no nitrogen, but still, I'm gonna still use that as an example. You see the beans, okay? They're producing. You know, we're harvesting. We're harvesting cucumbers and squash and tomatoes and so on, and your peppers. So everything has come up. It doesn't need to grow. That's not what you're growing is a plant. You're growing fruit. You're growing vegetables. That's where your P and K is your friend. So, you know, don't ever have to go ask the Google, okay, what do I need to feed? Y'all know once it comes up, you see blooms, get off the nitrogen and just feed your plants. Now, I don't heavy foot mine, but I'm consistent weekly with mine, and I think that's the key too. And if you're using a liquid like I am, the 0-10-10, I just go around and just give them a little glug. That's it, in my little water can using the rainwater. And I almost emptied that rainwater. Sure did. I almost emptied it. But they have been watered with it. Now I can come back with a water hose and then just water them. So yeah, it's just that simple. It's just walking every day, twice a day, looking, and the plant will talk to you. That's why I showed y'all that butterfly bush with all the yellowing leaves. That is so indicating that we've had too much rain, because that's a tropical plant. And if I put my hand down in there, it's going to be wet. It doesn't release it. If I put my hand in these beds, these fingers in these beds, it's going to feel dry, even though we've had that much rain. So I've got to water. But I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I do have Mo because his mom's going to be out of town. So as always, stay safe. Stay safe, bud. Stay well, and God bless. See you on the next one.